just like heartbreak, it's obviously another form of heartbreak. It just allows us a time to have our heart break open and for more light to shine in. My father passed, and the funeral isn't set for 3 weeks. I don't have a say in the date, but I think it's inhumane for his funeral to be pushed back. What to do? Well, I don't know. First of all, why is it inhumane? I mean, that's just a judgment right there. It sounds like, I don't know, a bit of a distraction. I'm sorry. I don't want to not hear you and validate your feeling. I understand that you might feel that, not having any say doesn't make you feel good. And I get that. So that let's acknowledge that first. But saying that it's inhumane, I mean, I don't know, is it? I guess what comes to mind is I'm thinking about, when I lived in Bali, the villages, they call them banjars, they every 5 years would have a big cremation celebration ceremony. So if your loved one died, let's just say the day after this cremation ceremony, you had to wait 5 years to do the cremation ceremony, which is the funeral. 5 years. We're talking 3 weeks. What they do with the body is they literally wrap it in cloth and put it very, very shallow into the ground, and they wait until the next ceremony, and they do it as a group. So I'm not saying you need to take on the Balinese ideas around, death and dying and ceremonies and all that. No, I'm not. I'm just saying that it's just a belief, it's a thought. And I feel like this is a little tough love, but I feel like you're using it as a distraction, to not go deeper into whatever your issues are. I think you need to get a little bit more anchored into you. And I also think that it's about trusting that everything is happening just as it should, because you might need those 3 weeks. Yeah, you might need the 3 weeks to just really feel into the emotions so that you can show up and be present in a way that you want to be. So I would suggest that it's your higher self, maybe protecting you, maybe not protecting, but supporting you at this really, really difficult time. I know when death occurs, it's really challenging because everyone suddenly has a very strong opinion about everything. And honestly, it's just a big part of it is the patterns from the past are coming forward, and our emotions are so raw. But if you can take advantage of that vulnerability, it almost brings tears to my eyes to think about it, because when you're in that real vulnerable place and you're in your heart, and you're just feeling it, you're really feeling it, that's where the work is. And it's beautiful, because when you release it from the heart, not just oh, got this, mine, done, but when you really get in there and you really feel it, the ideas about the 3 weeks aren't a big deal. It's about reflecting on that person in your life, the fact that they're gone, supporting the other loved ones that are still here, being in the bliss and if you believe in previous lives, future lives, they're going to be in a better place, no matter if they're in their body physically or they've left the body. And maybe in those 3 weeks, that spirit that left the planet, your dad, maybe he's doing his magic on the other side. And maybe he wants to show up at the funeral in a different way. So, my friend, I think trust. I think feel deeply into your heart. Just be aware of maybe some distractions that you're might be using to avoid that heart-centered place. And use this as a time to cry it out. Everything. Losing a parent, no matter if you had issues with them or not, is hard. And just like heartbreak, it's obviously another form of heartbreak. It just allows us a time to have our heart break open and for more light to shine in. So really, don't gloss over this. Take the time you need to really be in it. I'm actually, as I'm saying all this, I'm really happy that there's this 3-week delay for you and for your family and for the spirit that crossed. And you just got to trust that that's not where your energy needs to be, judging about timing on a funeral. All right, dear, my heart's with you. Thank you for asking the question, and thank you for being vulnerable to let me answer it. All right, let's go on to the next question.